And good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is MacDonald of the new Midlife Woman community, and I have the very good fortune this evening to be interviewing Marina Nani. Marina Nani is not just the founder of Radio.W.O.R.K.S World, but also a very successful businesswoman and a great example, in my opinion, of a new midlife woman who is finding love, happiness, and fulfillment in living her higher role and purpose. Hello, Marina. Thank you for joining us.
Wow, JJ, I'm so excited to be here on your show, and I'm ready to answer any question you might have for me. And you know what? Best way of discovering who you are is sharing with the people you could trust and the people who already shared with you their own story. So I'm here because you gave us so much, and our listeners, surely they not only enjoyed your shows so far, but they can't wait for what's next. So yes, I'm ready. I'm here.
Okay. Well, I regard this as a coup because I don't know of anybody else who's done an interview of you as you're such a celebrity. So I'm so privileged that you've agreed to do one with me. Now, before we talk about what you're doing these days with Radio.W.O.R.K.S World, please tell us your story about you and your journey to be where you were at the point when you started Radio.W.O.R.K.S World.
Well, it's not very much to say. I could say that I retired early because I was successful. I achieved everything I ever wanted and more. And I was 51 years old. And now, after I started my journey into serendipity, I could very proudly say that I'm 55 years young. That's my story. If you want me to know how I went from being old to feeling young and getting younger each day, I can share that as well.
I know, but I'm sure our listeners would love to know something about what happened in those 51 years.
Yes, so what happened? I was working on a project which involved me a lot to travel a lot with my children because they're very, very young.
Yes.
And I had to carry them with me wherever I was going. So as you know, when you travel from one hemisphere to the other, it's always hard to offer your children how should I put this? A very simple thing, their home. So we were staying in one hotel for 3 weeks, and another hotel for 4 weeks, another hotel for 3 months. And it was very exciting, but my children will make friends, and then they have to cry for another in those 3 weeks, and then cry for another 3 months because they're missing them. So
yes.
At some point, I decided to think, what's more important for me, my children's happiness or my career? I was very good at what I was doing. And
tell us what you were doing, Marina. Just give us
I was involved in ecological projects. So I was traveling different countries, in very exotic countries, and I was writing reports. So when I made that decision, I had no plan. All I knew is that I wanted my children to make friends, to grow up within the same environment and feel that they have roots.
Yes.
So what happened, I had to, not to rethink, but I had to find a solution that is good for them and maybe it's not so bad for me.
Yes.
And I was overqualified somehow for all sorts of jobs I was applying. They keep saying you are overqualified, you are overqualified. But I think the fact that I had 3 children wasn't really working to my favor, to my advantage. And I never thought that it's somebody else's responsibility to take care of my children or anything like that. So, but this is because society thinks that a widow who needs to raise 3 children is going to focus more on her children and is going to be a needy person perhaps at some point, and that will create a situation where the company who employs you is going to give more than they bargain for. So, of course, it wasn't the case. I never, it actually took me a long time to get rid of the child benefit support because I didn't want that, because that was too little to help me and enough to make me think, oh, there's some money coming. Anyway, so I decided to start my own business because I couldn't really successfully get a job.
Yeah, well,
It was, but I couldn't. So I decided to, for people like myself who are traveling away from home with their family because they don't have a choice.
yes.
So at the time, we are talking about a couple of decades ago. So at the time, it was unheard of because all you could have was going to a hotel and having a room, or renting a property for 6 months or more. So it was very hard, almost, I've been told many times, oh, this must be illegal, simply because it was unheard of.
Yes.
But, that didn't put me off completely, so I had to always find another way and go around certain people and show them how this works. Anyway, so this is how the hotel alternative started, and it's a concept that now is very valuable. It's for most people it's priceless, and it seems like another way of life because so many people are migrating, so many people are relocating to another city or to another country, and so many people need to travel with their family. And looking back now, I'm thinking, gosh, I was really quite a courageous girl, you know.
Yes, very far-sighted.
Just because I knew there is a need, and I thought I could help other people who face the same challenges I did, and they won't need to choose between their career and their family and being with their children. So yes, slowly but surely, I created a portfolio of properties which I was renting to business people traveling from various countries to London, and they were here for 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 months. And yes, at 51, I retired. And when I retired, JJ, I realized that I have nothing. My children grew up. I was very proud of them. I didn't want to take any of their time because now they were as busy as I used to be. And I never had, in 3 decades, I never had a weekend, let alone a holiday. So this is how much the extent of the hours and passion I put into my business. So when I retired, from being somebody who is taking 150 hours, 50 calls a day, I had no one to call. So yeah. I was getting all these calls on a daily basis, all these calls. And sometimes I won't even have enough time to listen to another message to pick up the phone because it will ring again. So it was that kind of life. And it was very exciting. And suddenly when I retired, I had absolutely no one to talk with.
Yes.
So a few months later, I felt very weak. Even I never been to a hospital. I never been, showing any weakness of any kind. I could not walk anymore. I went outside to go for a walk, and I dropped dead in front of the house. At the hospital, they couldn't find anything, but I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up, and seems like I had no life left in me.
Wow.
So I remember my daughter sitting by my on my bed and saying, "Mom, what's wrong with you? You can't do this to us. We need you now. You can't go. You can't just be there and be this person you are now. There is something you want. You've done so much for us and for so many people. What is that you want for you?" And I realized, JJ, that I never wanted anything for myself. I didn't even know I'm allowed. I mean, I thought it's an option to want something for myself.
Yes.
So I was shocked by that question when she said, "What is that you want?" I realized I never asked myself that question. I always thought of what other people want. I always went the extra mile or the extra 10 miles or the extra 100 miles to meet their wishes and make them happy. And I love happy people. So I realized that I don't know how to want something. And my daughter is telling me, people your age, because I was 51, yes. Mm-hmm. And when she said that, I realized that I must be old if she's saying people your age. They go and travel the world. Why don't you go? I said, so what? Just to go like that with no reason? I always had something in mind. When I went somewhere, I went for a very specific reason, because I had to deliver something. I had to achieve something. But just to go with no reason, just because I'm old.
Yeah.
And I remember she was saying there's so many places you could finally go and see. I said, but I don't want to go places. I want to go and meet people, new people, total strangers. And I want to fly an airplane. I want to go to South Africa. I want to go to South America. I want to go to I want to go to south of France and have people around me, be friends, and just share a good time, quality time. And my daughter said, Mom, it must be something that is normal and you could have. What you want is not possible. You've been working all your life. You never had a weekend. You never had holidays. You never had time to yourself. So now to be with people is just not possible. And I remember I asked her, so what's the point if it's not possible?
Yes. Did you believe that it wasn't possible?
Yes, actually, I felt like going, I don't know if you remember this old Kodak, the camera that you take into not a digital one, the old version.
Yes.
We are both young enough to remember those. You take the film to a dark room and you develop the film.
Yes. Yes.
So I felt exactly that way. I felt that I'm going to a very dark room, but I didn't know that I could develop my own colors. I didn't know I have any colors.
Yes.
And my children were so worried about my health, and because nobody knew what's wrong with me, but I couldn't stand up, I couldn't eat, I couldn't. I was in a very strange place, and one day my younger son, I remember it was Mother's Day. Usually they will buy me lots of flowers or sunglasses or something that I will be very excited about it. But this time they brought me a little envelope. I said, Happy Mother's Day. I said, what's this? I opened it and it was a program about how to write a book.
Right.
So I got very upset actually. I said, what's this? How on earth I can write a book? I never learned English. How I can write a book? This is ridiculous. And I remember my son said, Mom, I paid a lot of money for this. You better look into it and see and tell us when is the book going to come out.
Oh, good. He's his mother's son.
So anyway, a couple of weeks later, because they keep asking me, when is your book going to come out? What's happening? What's happening with your book? I was thinking I better have a look and see what is this about. And I felt bad because I thought I have 2 degrees already. I created a successful business. I invented the business from ground zero. I raised the children all by myself in a foreign country against everything. I never had friends. I never had any support. I never knew I could have any support. And now they're sending me back into education, and that wasn't fair. But life is not fair. So because they paid so much for that little piece of paper, it was an online program, I decided to go in and see what it's all about. So eventually, I followed to the T everything I was instructed to do. And at that point, I had to submit the book title. So 6 attempts, they were coming back to me, whoever there were the people who supposed to come back to me, which I never met. They were total stranger, yes?
Yes.
And they were saying, no, try again. No, try again, 6 times. So of course, at that point, my book, which was written by hand, it was in my drawer. And I thought, I'm going to lock this bloody drawer and will never open it again. So, couple of weeks later, I have a phone call for my son, and I pick up the phone. And being involved in that project really helped my health. So I start being alive again. I start doing a lot of, yes, I was doing a lot of research, and I was getting quite how do I put this, mesmerized by the whole process. It was like carrying the dictionary with me all the time, everywhere. And I didn't Google much, but I was going to the library, spending hours on end. And anyway, so eventually I got this phone call. They're asking for my son. I said, he's traveling for a week, but maybe something I can help with. And this beautiful angel voice at the other end said, I'm calling from Canada, and your son got a program to write a book, and I don't know, we never heard from him. I don't know what happened. I said, oh, he bought the program for me. It was a gift for his mom on Mother's Day. And she said, oh, really? And what happened? I said, well, I've been rejected 6 times. So I decided to give up because it seems I don't have a book title. Anyway, so this angel at the other end, her name is Lori. She said, so what is the book about? And I said, I followed the program to a T. I done exactly what I was told to do. And I'm a good student. I love learning. And I can't pass this next level where I have to present you with a title and it's never good enough. And said, okay, so what is your business? So I explained, it's the hotel alternative. And I helped for a couple of decades. I helped people traveling away from home to have a home in London and have their own front door and have providing, I've been providing an experience rather than a product. And she says, so that's your book title? I said, which one? She said, Away from Home. And she asked me again, so what is your business name? I said, The Hotel Alternative. She said, that's the subtitle. I said, really? So then they invited me. They launched the book. There were a couple of hundred people. And just funny enough, JJ, the other day, I stopped traveling now because I've been away from home for 1,000 days. So I've been to 341 cities, new places where I've been launching my book, where I've been meeting people, total strangers, including myself. And I came back to London, and I'm looking at all the boxes that I put away when I left. And first box I opened, very top of the box, it was this book they launched for me in 2012. And there it was the signature from, because, people were asking me to, at the book launch, they were asking me to autograph, write a dedication.
Yes.
I didn't know how. I had no idea what to say. So what I done instead, I went to Dr. John Gray, you know who he is.
John, yes, of the book, wrote the book, Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus. Yes.
Awesome. So I just happened to be next to him for hours. We sat at the same table at the dinner after the awards. So I asked him to write a dedication on my book from him to me to learn how to do it. So it was so fun. Yeah. Anyway, so I found this book and I opened it and I felt like crying. I felt that that book is insignificant. It might be for any other people. Even a lot of people benefited because they just read the book and they start their own business. But I just felt that that's my birth certificate. That's my birth certificate for my big idea. That was my big idea. It was really hard. And if you ask me now if it was worth it, absolutely worth it. So that was my birth certificate. And I felt that I'm not even 55 years young. I'm only 4 years young because
Yes, yes.
my first book was launched in 2012, and everything changed. Everything else is history. It's even hard to remember what was happening before, because my life is now got two parts: the life before the book, and that's the acronym for that. It's LOB.
Yeah.
And the life after the book, which is LAB, which is lab. So I'm keep experimenting since. So I wrote a few more books, and I'm very blessed. I feel that I am reunited with my passion, and my passion is to broadcast your passion. So yes, this is the story.
That's a wonderful story, Maria.
Oh, thank you, JJ.
And it bears out what I've seen and heard so many times, is that people hit something in their life where they're stopped, and they are stopped and made to think. And in your case, it was that, I mean, most people are busy, and think when they will relax, they will have to enjoy themselves and so forth. So when they were busy, they weren't tired. They may have been, but it didn't show. But the irony is, when you stopped and you had time, then you got ill. And so it's not like it's a message from your body. Sometimes people who overwork get a message from their body: slow down, or you will die, or you will get very ill. But in your case, it came from a higher level, I would suggest. It came from your spirit saying, you now have time to do your real work. So better find out what that is.
That's so true. Absolutely true. I feel, JJ, that now I'm in my wild years,
Yeah, well, because you're on purpose. You're on the life's path that you were meant to be on, or that that doesn't. I don't want to say it's totally settled outside you. You chose it. This is your life's path, your life's purpose, and because that you have unlimited energy, and all the things we love you for are so obvious because you are on your path.
Wow. So I was wondering, JJ, do you feel so? That's my midlife crisis that turned me into a teenager, turned me into an amazing person. That sometimes I'm looking at myself and think, oh my God, I love myself. I'm really a beautiful person, so I love it. But I read many times, and I know this is your expertise, that midlife crisis hits men almost it's almost lethal. So midlife crisis hits men harder than women. But because in a way I learned to be a man, I learned to think like a man, because I had to be. I didn't want a stranger man in my children's life. So I had this need to protect them. And the chances were there could be a very, very nice man, but perhaps my kids would be nasty to him, or maybe it could be that my kids would be wonderful, but that man would prove to be nasty, or whatever. So I could not enter that territory. I could not have somebody else sharing parenting with a total stranger. But I had to develop certain abilities. I had to expose myself to new information, to be courageous, to be determined. And the fact that I had no men in my life is a blessing, because that allowed me to grow into a person that can deliver results and can turn a dream into a vision and turn the vision into a real life. So I'm really grateful for whatever it was and for whatever it wasn't. I'm grateful equally.
Yes, well, the interesting thing is you started off by saying that it might be different for women and for men. My view is that we need to look at this from a higher level. We happen to be either born we're born as and choose to live the role of either men or women, because that's what society requires of us. But we are really coming from a higher level, which is above men and women. And from that higher level, from a spiritual level, we have a purpose, something which is our destiny, and we have to fulfill that destiny. And I think it falls equally on those people who have that, because not everybody has, I'm sorry to say, but those people who have, let's call it a calling, or as they should call it in, I think calling is the best word. If they have a calling, the first half of their life is really getting things together, having a family, generating the means to support the family and support themselves, because it's a material world. If we don't have money, we starve. So we have to get that done. But once we get that done, we are then free for the second half of our lives to do exactly what we want, or exactly what our higher level wants. So I don't think there's really a significant difference. You had the interesting experience that choosing to be a single parent and do everything did cause you to explore both sides of yourself, which means you were more ready, perhaps, when the time came to not fall for this. I mean, I know so many midlife women who believe that finding a man would make everything different in their life. And, well, it would make everything different, but it wouldn't necessarily make it different for the better. Those people who say, I can live my life without a man, if the right one comes along, that's fine, and I will negotiate a relationship that suits me, that doesn't cramp my style, that I can still fulfill my destiny, and that would be fine. But if it doesn't happen, that would also be fine. That, in my opinion, is the real level of self-certainty which we need to achieve in order to get the best out of the second half of our lives.
Wow, it's very interesting what you are saying, because I really believe that success is your birthright, but it's about timing. So,
oh yes,
when you really because time doesn't really exist, but is what you make of it. So when you realize that you've been given so much, every single moment of the day is a gift, and the present is called the present.
Yes.
For a reason is the present, is the priceless present of life. And when you hold that moment in your hand or in your mind or in your heart, and you are thinking, why I'm having this time in my hands, what I'm going to do with it, is when you realize that the real question is not why I'm given this time, but the real question is what's next. For me, it's never been a question of why. For me, it's always been very clear why. But what hit me, and I didn't know how to react, and I wasn't ready for that, it was what's next.
Yeah, that's very profound. Because it's like our life rolls out from us, in front of us, like a red carpet. And all we have to do is keep taking the next step. The carpet will tell us where to go.
You know what? That's such a beautiful metaphor, because I was keep thinking, what's next? When I said what's next, of course, I'm thinking of the second part of our red carpet series we are having in London at the BAFTA Awards. And we just went a month ago, less than a month ago, and you receive an amazing award. The listeners were voting for you, and you've been on the red carpet. You have that experience. And experience is something nobody can take away from you. It's as if, okay, I can give to charity everything I have. I could lose everything I have. I could even lose relationships and health and all sorts of blessings I used to have. I could lose them all. But one thing that nobody could take away from me is my experience. And experiencing yourself as a different person, as a total stranger, and experiencing your ability to explore new territories, to explore new concepts, to explore new ideas, I think is what makes us so unbelievably fortunate. Because what I call divine essence is what makes you. And I'm absolutely certain. I don't know, you could argue that with me and I will listen, but I'm absolutely convinced that we are all coming from the same place, from that ocean of love. And each one of us carries that divine essence. And the only difference that is possible, even each one of us is so different, so unique, is deciding to use your divine essence or ignore it. Deciding to to master your divine essence, or just never look at it, never explore that. So to me, is no question that what you have inside is so abundant that the more you give, the more you have. It's almost like you are showered with everything, all the greatest emotions, the greatest feelings, the greatest ideas, the most amazing visions. And they're given to you for a reason, because if you weren't to be able to turn them, to bring them out from your own mind into the reality of others, you won't be given that vision, you won't be given that idea, you won't be given that abundant energy. And this is where I'm thinking, it's sinful, absolutely sinful to ignore your divine essence. It's absolutely a crime. It's a crime. To me, it's a crime to think that you don't have it. Everybody else does it, you don't. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And I'm looking at people thinking, oh my God, how they do it? I will never be able to be that or do that or match that. So guess what? You don't need to. You absolutely don't need to. And you are given this vision, and you are not given the wings. And between where you are right now and where you belong is nothing in between, simply because you now have the chance to grow your own wings. And this is my belief. I'm totally convinced that is something that each one of us carry already, and we have a divine job to deliver. For me, it's all about delivering.
Absolutely. Well, that's a beautiful metaphor, and it's so well, it's borne out by the experience that we both have had, and we have seen so many other people have, and all the great people of history all said they were following a path which they was laid down for them. They say it in different ways and different words from it, but divine essence is a beautiful way of putting it. This divine essence is in all of us. Fortunately, those of us who are able to recognize it and nurture it and follow it have a wonderful life. Both of us have a ball, don't we? But the only thing, I don't know where some people take the wrong turning, but some people do. They ignore it, and they don't usually last very long. It's my observation that that's the case, that they wither away and die because they are not fulfilling. The divine essence has been ignored or neglected. It's difficult to do because the divine essence is very tough. It will knock you about.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely true. I got the hard knocks many times, and you know what? The more the better. I'm not afraid of hard work, and I know when something is worth it. Is not about you even, It's as if all this I don't know, amazing desire to reach out to people, to deliver the message, to be that Greek soldier who is living marathon wounded, going to Athens to deliver the good news, the war is over. It's simply to say to somebody, at least one person, say to them, the war is over. You could be at peace now. Embrace your truth. You are wonderful. You don't need anything. You don't need anyone. You are amazing the way you are. And I had this goal, JJ, for a couple of years. I decided that I'm going to help one person a day, at least one person a day, to receive that message. And what happened once, I was coming from, I can't remember, I was flying from Singapore to LA. I think it was a very long flight. And I wrote a book because I've seen all the movies in my way there. So on my way back, it was nothing else to watch. So I love a good movie, but how many times can you watch a movie? Yeah. So I wrote this book 32, I think it was at the time, Away from Home, Walk the Talk. And so what happened when I landed, I wasn't jet lagged or anything like that, but it was dark. I've been all the time I was writing, so I didn't talk to anyone next to me because I was so I don't know, so all in into writing that book.
Yes.
And, when I got there, it was midnight, so I had no one to talk. The driver, the taxi driver didn't speak English, so I was hoping I would help somebody, yes? So it was like the clock was ticking and I was missing that person. I promised myself I'm going to help at least one person a day for the rest of my life. So that day was the very first time when I had no one to help. So it was almost midnight. I got home, I think it was 11 in the evening, and I switched my phone on, and I have this message from a total stranger from South Africa, and she says, "Please help me." Oh my God. So she said, some friends of mine, they gave me your book and I really want to talk with you. And of course, I had my chance to deliver the message to one person a day, even when the time was working against me. So to me, it's just a question of, it's like walking on fire. Perhaps you walked on fire and you know. So when you walk on fire, you expect that you're going to feel the burns and the smell of burnt skin is going to knock you down and all of that. But actually, none of that is real. So I walked on fire twice in one day simply because I thought the charcoals weren't hot enough. So I went again. I thought I want hotter charcoals because I felt sick. But the truth is that when you walk on fire, you don't think of the charcoals. You think of the people who are waiting for you at the other and to celebrate you. And all you think is those celebrations. That's why I only do red carpet events, because it's about celebrations and it's about celebrating the human spirit, and it's about celebrating your ability to grow into the person you could be and into the person that nobody can stop you to be.
Right, yes, wow. So can we see how this now morphs or segues into Radio W.O.R.K.S world? How did that inspiration come to you?
Yeah, so what was happening, each time somebody will invite me to speak, I will share my story, and then hundreds of people will write to me or will come and talk with me and tell me, I'm a good listener, tell me their story, and I'm thinking, blimey, it's so much greatness. Every single person here needs to be celebrated. But of course, for them to get to know their worth, and that the fact that they are worth celebrating is a big challenge. Anyway, so I start interviewing people. You know, nobody's, but guess what? Nobody doesn't exist. So everybody's somebody. Yeah. If you allow other people to listen to you, you are somebody for somebody. So then it was very hard for me to put everything in one place. I'm not a very technical person. I never had a Facebook before. I launched my first book was launched. So you imagine that social media and all this for me is like something so new that I'm only doing it because my friends are there and I want to be with them. So I just realized that I could put it on Facebook, then I can email everyone is emailing me, sharing somebody else's story. So it's never been about me. And the book series, the first book series, Away from Home, it's never been about places. It's always been about people. So then I wanted more. I wanted to create a channel of good news. That was my dream, because all these people, they were bringing so much within their story. They were like bringing so much good news themselves. So like yourself, JJ, for me, you are the good news. You yourself, with everything, your essence, your beauty, your big idea, everything about you, your passion, that's the good news. And I didn't know how to put them all together, and I had thousands of interviews with people from all over the world. And I don't know, one day, my children again, they bought me a program, an online program. I said, not again. So they brought me a program done by Pete Walter. You met him at the awards a month ago.
Yes.
He's a BBC producer, and he got a program called Deal with the Media, and it's done with amazing people from BBC, and they're all I don't know if anyone else could match their experience. And they teach you how to interview and how to be interviewed and how to deal with the media, the heartless media, how to reach out to media.
Yes.
So I love the program, and somehow Peter Walter reached out to me and said, let's talk. I said, okay. So then I said, can I interview you? That was so funny because I was so scared. And you know what's happening, JJ? You are interviewed all the time. Nobody's asking permission, but they interview you all the time. And
Yes.
you didn't even realize in an interview. So what's this scarcity about being interviewed after all, So at least somebody is honest with you and is telling you, I want to interview you. So anyway, he guided me, and then he said, so why you are not having a radio show? And I started laughing, but he was very serious, so it was no laughing matter. And I thought, okay. And he inspired me. He showed confidence that I could eventually have that dream come true. And when I saw the confidence in him, I thought, must be possible. So so I decided that my program, the W.O.R.K.S, because I consider I deliver divine works, could be Radio W.O.R.K.S World. At first it was Radio W.O.R.K.S and then become World, because people from so many countries start queuing up to be interviewed. So I thought, yeah, that's what it is. So now it's Radio W.O.R.K.S World, and we are a family of genius farmers. This is who we are, and together we seed big ideas. We plant the seeds of greatness, and together we travel far. That's all I know.
Very good. I'm sorry, I just had a break in connection, so I missed that last part. I shall. But you didn't hear anything go wrong at your end?
No.
No, and it's so good. I will miss it. I will catch up on that part with you later. So, who would you say now? Well, you've to some extent answered this question. Who is your target audience? You believe that it's everybody, because there are no nobodies. And I love your expression, a channel of good news.
Well, at first, JJ, there were people my age, people with my experience, people who done it all, give it all, and were left with nothing, like I felt. And I don't wish on anyone that kind of experience, that kind of feeling when you can't see anything else. It's as if you are done. And I was done when I didn't even know what life is. I didn't even understand what life means. And now, because of such a great reaction from various demographics and various countries, and now our aim is to have people broadcasting their big ideas, their story from at least 100 countries. I'm thinking that I can't do it all by myself. That's why I'm reaching out to you, and I'm reaching out to everyone who already been through the process, and they already are hosting their show, to interview other people and create this ripple effect and have Radio W.O.R.K.S World in every single household, because each one of the people we know or we don't know yet got something that is so amazing and is so absolutely unheard of, that must be somebody out there who needs them, who is waiting for them. To me, the world is this big puzzle, and yes, it's not perfect, and yes, it's, I don't know, it's no room for complaint, but there are so many missing pieces. But guess what? Every single missing piece is the person who is not delivering their own divine essence. And
yes, that's a beautiful way of putting it.
And to me, JJ is I don't know. Some people are not perhaps used to certain voices they have. They like to shut them down. But I'm listening to my inner voice. I'm listening to what I'm hearing, wherever that is coming from, and it is simply. I think and I feel that my life mission is to help the missing piece turn themselves into the masterpiece.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's why the second book series, The Simple Truth. So I can't wait for your book to be launched, and I can't wait to see you again on the red carpet in December in London. And I'm going to write a book about you, where I'm going to turn all our great conversations on Radio Works World into a transcript and put it into a book. And it's going to be The Simple Truth about midlife women. Great conversations with Jean MacDonald. So at some point I said that my dream is to write at least 1,000 books, and I'm working on it. I'm work in progress. I'm a little bit behind my schedule because I only wrote 55, but
55 is not bad.
Now with all the content coming, with all the people who are joining, and everything, technology is available, everything is there. It's as if it's no excuse. I have to reach that 1,000 books in the next 1,000 days. So to me, it's just a question of allowing people to see their own greatness and helping them to turn themselves from the missing piece into the masterpiece. Because I can't be them. Nobody can be you. You are the one and only, and that's a fact. And all I can do is to bow in front of you and say, thank you for being in my life.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, we don't know who is going to be listening to this recording in the future. So how does anybody who's been inspired by your wonderful words and wants to connect, how would they do that?
Well, they could go to Radio W.O.R.K.S World, which is our website, and they could listen to certain shows. I think we have now over 1,000. I think we could only hold 500 at a time or something. But anyway, we have records of many shows. And the website is www.radioworks.world.
Well, that's Radio Works. So there is a dot between the Radio Works and World.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, fine, right. So, okay. Well, we... and please, Maureen, just to be on the safe side.
Yes, so it's www.radioworks.world.
Right. .com?
No, just radioworks.world.
I understand. Oh, that's very clever. So instead of the com, we've got .world. Why not? Of course. Who wants to play small?
I thought com is coming from commune, and there's nothing common about us. Each one of us is very, very special, very, very different.
Wonderful, wonderful. So finally, could I ask you, Maria, what are your plans and hopes for the future?
Well, JJ, to tell you the truth, I have no plans. I think it is a divine plan, and I'm part of it. And my job now is to keep myself available for greatness.
Yes, beautiful. Yes. And see where the red carpet takes you.
Takes us.
Yes, wonderful. Well, that is, if you are on your divine purpose, you don't really have, any doubt that you are, because it's such a different feeling from perhaps what we might call normality. And secondly, the number of I call it random turnings. You turn a corner for no apparent reason, and yet you find out a little later that was exactly the right corner, because if you hadn't turned that corner then, you wouldn't have met the right person or had the experience that you needed to happen next. And so it's really wonderful, because it takes a lot of pressure off us if we just follow the red carpet, follow our path. So thank you, Marina. You've been a wonderful interviewee, and I can only say it's a great privilege, and I have learned so much about the mysterious Marina. You've told me so much more, and I'm sure our listeners would be delighted to have learned so much more about you. So, is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Marina?
Yes, I would like to share with our listeners something that is very simple, something that you can tell yourself, even you've been told that others have to tell you who you are. You have to remember that it's nobody's business what you think, or it's nobody's business what it's none of your business what other people think of you. So instead of waiting for people to tell you, to validate you, remember, success is your birthright. It's not an option. It's your birthright. And it is time now to tell others who you are.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. I've written that down. Thank you very much indeed for that wonderful thought. And let us keep repeating it in different ways, or the same way, for more people to take it on board, because believing in yourself, so many people do not believe in themselves, and it's so sad, because in our society there's so much going against it.
I know, but it's a choice. It's a choice.
It is a choice, yes, and it takes courage, as we have said. But not only is it worth it, it is really the only way to find love, happiness and fulfillment, the things that we all seek. And if you're not on your path, you are not likely to have those in the abundance that could be available to you. So Marina, thank you very much indeed. So let me just sign off. This is Gene MacDonald of the New Midlife of the New Midlife Woman Community, and thanking Marina once again as my guest. Would you like to say goodbye, Marina?
It is my absolute privilege to be here with you, and I can't wait for your next show. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.